It was not a good day for Dammy, an 18-years-old club stripper. She had a client who refused to go and demanded for her service for a long time. Though the pay was okay, but the effort and time put in was so tiring. Dammy, an orphan, left with the responsibility of caring for three siblings. Their father died when she was 10, and she watched her mom accused and persecuted by their relatives and villagers. As she was struggling to free herself from a very abusive husband, she mistakenly stabbed her husband, which resulted to his death. Her mother was stoned, judged, and banished from the village. Nobody cared about what he had done to her. They all focused on her mistake. What their mother passed through resulted to mental problem. Dammy watched their mom deteriorate to a 5-year-old girl. It got so bad that she forgot how to feed herself. Dammy became her siblings' parents. She thought their dad's siblings would have shown concern if they had one boy among them, as they were all girls. Dammy, at 15, was already working. She became a victim of abuse. As far as you will provide her with food to feed her mom and siblings, she was ready to mingle. Dammy's mother died when she was 17, a death that was painful and somehow a relief. Dammy focused on her siblings. Dammy, a stripper at night, and a tailor apprentice in the day. These two work enabled her to pay her siblings school fees, feed, shelter, and clothe them. She already promised herself to stop stripping when she becomes a seamstress. After 1 year of being an apprentice, she finally graduated. With the money she had saved, she opened a tailor shop. Dammy have already registered her immediate younger sister in a computer program. She hoped that she will be able to help out when she become independent. She planned to see her other two siblings through school. Dammy ignored all advances from men to get married because marriage scared her, and she needed to make sure that her siblings do not turn out like her. When her sister, Somchi, graduated from her computer program and got a paying job, Dammy decided to quit stripping and focus on tailoring. Dammy sisters got admissions into university. Dammy's plans were all working out. Dammy felt happy and relaxed. It was not easy to get customers, as Dammy thought. Soon, the money she saved from stripping finished. The little she got from her shop was not enough to cater for her two siblings in the university. Her sister Somchi took in and ran off with a man she knew nothing about. Without her consent, it was as if all her plans are crumbling. She tried other jobs to add to her daily struggle, while begging her younger sisters in school to manage with her. The more she tried, the harder it became. Dammy decided to go back to her old job. The first day, she felt very irritated because of the type of men that would have to touch her body, but she needed to pay bills. She realized that so many beautiful faces have replaced her, and she realized that she is no longer the stripper star. Money did not come as before, because she was no longer high in demand. Her two siblings made it worse. They called every day, demanding for either this or that. She loved them so much, and they used it to their advantage. The day Dammy visited her siblings in school, she was shocked to realize that they were living off campus with so many property, more than they should have. She begged them to move to student hostel to help make the load less for her, but they refused. They told Dammy that school hostel will affect their education. Dammy decided to accept their reasons, even though it made no sense. Dammy joined prostitution to her hustle to enable her fund her siblings' ostentatious life. Unknown to her, one day, Somchi, Dammy's younger sister, came home with a 1-year-old boy, with her faces and body filled with bruises. At first, Dammy wanted to send her away, but when she remembered what her mother passed through in the hands of her abusive father, and the fact that they have no male child to carry on their father's name, as tradition demands, she forgave her and took her in. She treated her and allowed her to have her rest for days. Dammy got irritated by her sister's character. She had stayed for 1 month without even thinking of how to do something with herself, knowing fully how much she was struggling to feed her siblings, and her son. The day she raised her voice at her, Somchi threatened to go back to her abusive boyfriend. Dammy, trying to prevent repetition of what happened to her mother, begged her to stay. Dammy used her savings to start provision business for her. Dammy wondered why her siblings are yet to graduate from the university. It's 5 years already, and she have prepared her dancing shoes and planned how to shut down the school for them. Whenever they come back for break, she will ask them why they are yet to graduate, and reminded them that the people she knew that entered same time as them are graduates. They always reply her that their course take more years than theirs. Somchi, on the other hand, was busy jumping from one boyfriend to another with no positive outcome. The business her sister opened for her was run down in less than a year. Dammy already decided not to ever waste her money on her, but rather to focus on her son, whom she had given her father's surname. Dammy had gone deep into prostitution. She did not even bother about quitting anymore. She was popular and always patronized more than others in the same business. She no longer cared about herself, as far as she kept her siblings comfortable, and as far as one day one of her sisters would become a lawyer and make the villagers and her dad's siblings answer for the crime they committed against their mother. She was okay being the sacrificial lamb to achieve her goals through her siblings. One day, Dammy was picked by one of her regular customers to attend a party with him. Dammy saw two girls dancing and stripping in the club. At first, Dammy was disturbed. They looked familiar, even with their faces covered with masks. When they were done dancing, to clear her doubt, she followed them to the dressing room, Dammy received the greatest shock of her life when she realized that they are her sisters. My goodness. The two girls she uselesses her life for. The two girls she gave up everything for. She hid and ran out of the club. She stood under the rain and cried her heart out. She had cases of near-death experience in this business, suffered many sicknesses, but continued just to make sure they lacked nothing. She gave them everything they asked for, even what they did not ask for. Dammy ignored all the calls coming from her clients. She wanted to run, but after hours of moving to and fro, went home. She ignored every call she received that day. She ignored her sister Somchi. She changed her clothes and slept. The next day, she burnt all her work clothes, but what she and Somchi's son would eat, she stayed indoors for 2 weeks, ignoring her sister's calls and worried look from Somchi. Her sisters returned from school, wondering what was wrong with her. She refused to respond. They told her that they need clearance money. She ignored them. Somchi, already lazy and dependent, accused and called her names for refusing to feed her. She told her to go meet her son's father. To her greatest shock and surprise, Somchi had to finally look for work when she realized that Dammy no longer cared for anybody. Dammy's sisters stopped calling, stopped visiting, after they got cold shoulder from their sisters. Dammy reopened her tailoring shop, went for more training to advance her career. She paid attention to only herself and Somchi's son. The day Somchi came back with bruises, she ignored her. Somchi treated herself and took care of herself. Their sight continued to irritate Dammy. She decided to relocate to another town. She sold all her property and told them to come carry them. On the day she will go, she waited for Somchi to go out for her usual unplanned movement. She packed her bag and Somchi's son and left, decided not to end up like her mother. Dammy started a new life in a new city as a mother of one child. She found happiness, found love and got married to a man who accepted her son and her past. One day, she heard a knock at the door. It was her sisters. She was not very happy to see them, because she had decided to have nothing to do with them. She welcomed them. They told her of how they searched for her for months, and how finally their old neighbor saw her in the big city. She finally told them what they did to her, and how she caught them stripping in the club. Her sisters cried, confessed that they never got admissions. They got advice from their friend, who told them of her work, and asked them to fake the admissions, to live off her. And when they realized that she was able to do all they asked, and even more, they got greedy and decided to follow her line of business. They apologized, and Dammy told them of how she had forgiven them. Somchi saw his son, and was so happy to see the young man he had become. They left after meeting her husband. Dammy realized that they would have survived even without her dirty life.